Order at, I can't see the clock, is it 7:05? Thank you. Okay, so we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight we have an additional staff member with us. So I'd like to welcome Jennifer Stover, our Executive Department Head.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will just get started with our old business, and we start with March's action items. So we only had a couple of things, and the first one was for me to arrange dates to meet with Ann Warner, which I have not done. And the second was to discuss the chiller heating and financing, which it looks like we have some information on that, so we can talk about that. So those were the only two things. Let's see. Moving on, we have SMP under old business, strategic plan, which is still waiting on me. Chiller. Should we talk about that now? Or I saw that there was something in your director's report.
About which thing?
The chiller?
So we have a quote. I emailed Tom earlier today because we have a quote. Jen was able to get a quote from Johnson Controls. And what they wanted to know from us is, are we going to go out to bid on the project? And so I wrote to Tom saying, what should we do? What do you recommend?
Yeah, that was my question. Was I don't know what would be the right process.
So he said the town's purchasing policy is that anything over $10,000 should go out to a competitive bid. I know things work a little differently with you guys because of the additional oversight of the trustees, but it would certainly be my recommendation that anything of significant magnitude be awarded through the competitive bid process. And he included the policy. So that's his recommendation.
So
and we can have them help us with that. They've helped us before put together RFPs.
Because when I was reading this, I was not really clear, and this was, I guess, from Johnson Controls, that there would need to be an independent engineer to write up a bid spec, he said, and that could cost $20,000. So that kind of, and I guess I would just have some questions about that. You know, for instance, we are looking at the chiller. If we were to hire an independent engineer, and I'm just putting this out there, could they look at the whole system, right? Knowing that we're going to do the chiller, but kind of, if we're paying someone that kind of money, give us a complete overview of the system, and then what would be the next phase to move forward, right? Because those were our two choices: were do we just do the chiller, do we do the whole thing? So that would just be a question I would have, is if an engineer, if we were to hire someone to do that, if that was part of the process, that would be recommended by the town as well, that we get someone who was willing to give us this part and then additional information.
Sure, but then it sounds like we would need to have a bid for the engineer. We would need to.
Oh, because it's over also.
That's also going to be above $10,000.
Okay.
So it would be, that would be the first.
Yep.
I think RFP that we would put together or have get some help from the town to put that together.
Yeah, and I think, you know, of course you see the amount of money and you go, oh my goodness, but I also think that if we're looking at replacing this in a way that's going to be effective, and we're looking, rather than patching up systems, but putting in the chiller, moving forward in a year or so with the rest of the system, it might be good to have somebody come in from an outside perspective, from a vendor, and look at the whole thing and give us an idea. It might be really money well spent for the future. So, okay. So, yeah, do you want to just keep us in the loop with Tom and see, like, if what he would recommend? If they were to do it, I also am curious, you know, this is what we got from the vendor. Would Town Hall be doing it that way if they were going to be looking at a system? Would they hire an independent engineer also? I think, you know, we would want to follow their best practice as well on that. So. And I agree with him. There definitely needs to be some fresh air in the spaces. So that's, yes, good. Okay, well, thank you. It's nice to have quotes at least to look at and be able to move forward, making some decisions. So does anybody else have any questions or thoughts on this? So I think.
I'm sorry, Jen, since you were very involved in this part, do you have anything to add that we missed or I missed?
No, I don't think so. Would it be Xenia that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you reach out and find out who the town has worked with as far
Sometimes,
as
yeah,
this?
we can ask for a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we'd also want to know, like, is this what they would do, right? So the vendor is saying this is what you would want to do.
Mhm.
And I guess it makes sense because we don't want to have 3 different companies coming through and looking at it. So you want an independent engineer to look at the whole system and then say, this is what is going to need to be done. So, you know, is that what they do also? I think it's just good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
So the cost for hiring an engineer, is it coming from the trustee fund or from the?
Look at Janet.
Well, I think what we need to, well, Janet, go ahead. What would
Yep,
you?
go
Okay.
for it.
I was just going to say, why don't we find out what the process is and determine it? I think that, you know, we have other big ticket items that we need to look at with the CIP, and I think that, you know, our first thing is we look at our budget and see if there's money available to do that, and then we figure it out from there. I think because we were going to try to pay for the chiller with funds that were available already. So if that just means that we need to maybe do the engineer this year and create a PO and then move into the chiller in the next fiscal year, I think that we have. Am I correct, Janet? Okay. So, yeah.
Figured it. Where are we? We're in April.
Yeah. So I think we look at the town budget first. If we have money left over and we have open POs, we would look at there and see what we could do. So, okay, thank you. Like I said, good to get some quotes, get some information, the important steps in the process. And then the next thing is maintenance project quotes. I think there are a number of things. So do we want to look at the OneSource quote while we're here looking at money? Maybe you could give us some background on why we are looking at the security system. So we want to, it looked like we wanted to upgrade
Right.
to a system that could handle some more things.
So, yeah, so this is under maintenance in the director's report. The camera system, one of the cameras wasn't working. We had someone come in and replace it a couple of times. And now we have, the vendor has given us a couple of options on how to replace it, if we want to replace it piece by piece, or if we want to replace it kind of as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of where we are.
Of the 3 options, which one is the most similar to like what we currently have as far as?
Well, actually, no, I mean, I think a different thing is the vendor would recommend we replace it all at once rather than piecemeal, because then we have units that all work together.
But so is my understanding from this quote that there's 3 different options, right? And we just have to pick which one of those we want to
Yes.
do. So I'm wondering option 1, option 2, and option 3, like which one is the most similar to what we have now? Are there some things that are an upgrade? Like, I'm just curious about that. So I noticed, for instance, in number 1, they have wireless panic and a couple of other items that I didn't see in the same. Because I honestly don't know, like looking at this, which one is the, I don't know if anybody else had a chance to look at the 3 different options.
Yeah. Well, these are, yeah, I mean, okay, so these are different things. The first quote is the alarm panel, option 1. Because we have the same vendor does the camera system and the alarm panel system.
Mhm.
So these are,
Okay, so the first one is but then there's 2 that are both about the
the option,
Dahua channel
uh,
NVRs.
yeah, I mean, this option 1 is the alarm system.
Okay,
And then option 2, I don't know why it's called option 2, it should be another option 1, in my opinion, because that's the camera system.
Right.
and then option 3 is another camera system. Okay.
Right. So, I
Okay.
don't know.
Sorry, I was not clear on that. So, okay, so we have to do the new alarm panel.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So then it's a matter of really deciding between option 2 and option 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's keeping the existing cameras.
Right, okay.
And those are probably new cameras.
Yeah, because
That's
there's
why it's cheaper.
nothing, because there's no mention of cameras in number 2 at
Okay,
all.
so that's what he meant by, like, pieces.
So really, number 2 is not going to solve the problem because you're going to be using the same old cameras. Is that the?
I don't think it's more the cameras, it's like, you know.
If we get
Okay.
this new
The
system, then the
connectivity.
camera will interact with them. But then if
It will, but then the cameras are different and
yeah,
already starting as
Yep.
older.
Yep.
So it's not replacing the entire system at once.
mm-hmm.
I think it's more what do we anticipate the lifespan would be of a camera with a new DVR versus, or NVR versus just replacing everything at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
It's another one of those, hi, this is expensive.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I have mentioned before, I think people have tried really hard to be really mindful, and we're just in the situation now where there's a lot of things that are kind of coming due that need to be taken care of that we can't patch, or, you know, that it's reached that point where we have to just take care of it. So, all right, what are people's thoughts on the options between keeping the new cameras or the old cameras and getting new cameras?
This is an odd quote just because he added everything up together and that was the bottom line.
Yeah.
Where in reality, it seems like you have the option 1 and then it's okay, you go with option 1, then do you want option 2 or
right.
option 3?
Yeah, right. So,
And then it's like you said, option 2, it just says replacing the older FLIR NVRs, where the other one is, and 16 IP cameras. Yes. Yes, it is. So totaling that, the option 1 and option 3, skipping option 2, is 9,100, 9103.16.
mm-hmm. Well, I think that, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I know $3,000 is not a little money, but we want to do things the right way. I just hate the thought of, you know, saying, oh, let's save money, and
Yeah.
then down the road having more problems, right? It just doesn't make sense to me in the grand scheme of things. Like, I'd
Yeah.
rather do it the right way and hope that it lasts and there's a warranty, and, you know, then we're not replacing all the different cameras as we
Right.
go through
I
and
mean-
having issues. And finding out you have an issue when it's too late. You only find out because you needed to check a camera, you know, so.
I
yeah.
think I might recommend that we go with the last option, replacing everything at once, because it is technology, and that's the kind of thing that develops very quickly and goes out of style, or, you know,
Yeah.
becomes
Mhm.
obsolete very quickly. So I'd rather do that than piece things together with an older technology.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Does there say anything about warranty in here at all?
That's what I was looking for. The DVR warranty.
Yeah, it says here, In the event that any part of the video system becomes defective, or in the event that any repairs are required, OSS agrees to make all repairs and replacements without cost for a period of 1 year from the date of installation. And then everything else would be under the warranty of the manufacturers. Yeah. All right, so let's just say that we, does anybody have a different feeling about this? Is there anybody who thinks option 2 is a better choice? Sohini, Karen?
No, I don't think so.
I just have a question. Do we have to go with these guys? We've
don't
typically
know.
used them, and they've installed.
We're using them now.
Right.
They're a local company.
Right,
They're very responsive.
okay, that's,
Um,
I just don't know anything about them, and I didn't know if it was one of those that we've just always used them, but they're,
No,
I don't have any opinion on them, good or bad,
I think they're good.
so, okay.
So, being that the total would be about $9,000, so where would we get the money for that? I'll look at you. for
You're
that.
looking at me.
So,
I don't know. Where are we? We're in, this would be the end of March, April, May, June. So we have 4 months, so.
so, maintenance, building and grounds, buildings. We have everything encumbered in that. Do we look at open POs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Joanne emailed me or texted me
I mean,
like at 5 o'clock.
There's still money in the
asking if we could add
wage
that, so
lines,
I can
Mhm.
think.
but I don't, did we move money from all the extra money that was gonna be in the, for the carpet that we didn't end up needing?
I don't know. Is that in the open POs? Is that what you're?
Actually, I was looking at the general ledger.
Okay. Because the Atkinson carpet money, it's from July 4th. We had those 2 POs split.
Right, but then we didn't have to do the asbestos removal, that extra money was added, and mold. That, both of those, extra money was put in for those 2 things.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't need them either.
So
We have
Jen, just
this
for you to know,
postage of-
if we need to move money, we have to vote on it as a board, and then Karen has to get the minutes to Tom Boland to show that we did take that vote. So that's one of the reasons we can't just say, we want to do it. Okay, go ahead and do it, and then we'll figure it out. We need to, you know,
It's a
have it,
process.
yes, have it
Okay.
voted on and that. So.
Yeah,
Are you using the postage for books? There is something in the open POs. 2021-0734.
yeah, that's mine. Yvette, do you recall the, cost of the carpet?
No.
Cause I thought it
Not
was
off the top of
around
my head.
like 40
42.
40
Yeah,
something.
it was
because
less.
Yeah, because we still
Yeah.
have that, I know it's split, but there's
Yeah.
that 20K that's like for the asbestos abatement.
Right.
And that's just extra.
Okay, so we could take money
We
from
could take
there
it
to
from
do that?
there.
Okay.
'Cause yeah, I mean, we've taken some from another place,
Mm-hmm.
but
And that's already in buildings, so would we need to, move that to another line?
Probably maintenance.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, technically, it probably should be under maintenance, but it's still the building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Yvette.
Yeah, I think the, because what Joanne's written down here in the red is the testing, which was the Atkinson carpet 2021-0764. Okay, split, that doesn't make sense. The $20,000 part, we've only used 2515
Right.
of
Yes.
that.
Right.
So that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of what I was asking. The other
Yes.
part is, Deb asked, do we have to move it? It's still under building. It's not under the maintenance.
I think the building line is like, I don't think we have to move it. We don't have to move it. It's your budget. It's your bottom line. If you wish to move it, you can, but these are two very related lines.
Yes, exactly.
And it's still,
The building.
repair to a building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So,
So
if-
no.
if you're okay with it, then
Yeah.
you don't have to move it.
Okay.
I'm okay
So
with- I'm
I'm
okay
just
with
going to
that.
add up the exact
If
total.
you
So
all.
Right.
It's good.
The whole y'all.
It's the board.
All y'all.
So option one is for $3,494.60. That's the basic system, which, sorry, I was not clear on that. And then option three, which would replace all the cameras, and we basically would be getting a new system going in, is $5,608.65, which you've already added, right? I'm sorry, 56 cents, which Janet added up for us.
What do you get?
Doing math now.
Carrie?
$9,603.16.
All right.
Is that what you got?
$3.
Listen, I don't know. I'm doing this with like, she's going to use her calculator because we want to make sure it's correct to the penny. So
34,946 plus 34.94 plus the 5608.
5608.56.
Yeah, 9103.16.
91.
Oh, you know, I wrote it down. That yes. So you know why I got it wrong? Because my 4 looked like a 9 and I corrected it. So okay. So 90. That's why we double check ourselves. $9,103.16. Okay. Thank you. All right. So if we were to do those two, we would take that money from the open PO 20210.764. Correct?
Yeah, what would happen is we would close this PO because it's
And then-
made out to Atkinson Carpet. And
Okay.
then the money we can just allot to this.
Actually, Joanne wanted that money to go back into maintenance. So part of it could, well, it doesn't matter to me, but part of it could go back into maintenance and part of it could do that.
Well, we would just write a new PO for
Right.
these two projects.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we close the PO number 20210.764 and create a new PO to One Source Security for $9,103.16.
New PO to One Source Security.
Mm-hmm. For $9,103.16
Yep.
to pay for options 1 and option 3 on their quote.
1 and option 3 in their quote.
And that the balance of the closed PO goes to maintenance, is that what?
Balance.
Yeah, it's,
It's maintenance.
1583.21.
21.
Mhm.
Yes.
1583.21.
21.
Okay, goes to maintenance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So just to clarify for me, just to understand this, So we have this open PO, we're gonna take this money for one source. When you say put that back into maintenance, is that adding it onto the Atkinson?
No, it would, when you close a PO, the money just goes into the general
Oh, it does,
fund
it
for the
returns to
library,
it,
and we
okay.
would
Even though it was
just-
an open PO from the last fiscal year, okay,
yeah, it just,
okay.
but if you want us, if you have a project that you want us to designate the remainder for on these
Mhm.
many sheets
Mhm.
of projects,
Mhm.
then we would do that, and it would
Okay.
get grabbed.
Okay.
I just don't, how does it, which line would it go? I mean, you say it's a general fund, I just don't know. How would you see it? Like when you do,
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm curious
that's on the
about that
town side,
too.
but whenever,
cu-
when we close POs, I mean, it's gonna be such a fast close, reopen, or close, create another one.
Mhm.
I don't know how they do it in their books.
That they just return it to the general fund,
I
yeah,
really
that's.
don't know how
okay.
they do it on our side, but I can tell him, you know, we're gonna close this one and the money's gonna go here and here.
Yep,
yeah.
But if we have the designated, you know, if there's a designated project for the maintenance for the remainder,
mhm.
then I'd have to talk to Joanne and say, okay, which one was this one gonna get added to? You
Mhm.
know, cause usually when we close it, it's close and re-encumber for,
Mhm.
like, end of the
Mhm.
year, it's close this one, or close this one, and there's $200 left, and it will stay in materials
Mhm.
generally, you know,
Mhm.
so it would stay in that line, but we would already be very quickly, you know, saying, we're gonna create a new PO and you'll get it this
Okay.
afternoon, you know.
All right,
Somebody second?
I'll second.
okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? 400. Great, thank you.
This is a great
That's awesome.
thing to, we can get.
I like
done.
to check things off, like, let's just get these things done, and like,
Everyone
you
loves
have
that.
to do them, right? So,
Yes.
it's a good feeling. Okay, great. All right, and that was just all under old business. Are there any other maintenance project quotes that we need to take a look at right now?
Is there stuff we're working on the lines?
We need to get a,
It's okay, you know what, if you can always address it again under the director's report, so if nothing is jumping out at us,
It's not
just yet.
jumping out, right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, new business. We are a new board. I was sworn in on Friday, so, yeah, so
Yay.
we're a new board. So, it is time for the election, assigning of roles. So,
I'd like to nominate Deb Cole for chair.
I second.
okay.
I third.
I accept. So, yeah, I accept, yep, okay. So do you have to officially elect me? Like I just said, I accept. Do you have to vote to make it official?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I accept, so,
So, all those in favor?
okay, thank you. And then we need to do secretary and treasurer. So I'll nominate Janet as treasurer.
I second.
Well, I nominate Janet for treasurer.
Uh-huh.
Thanks.
Okay, all in favor?
All in
Okay,
favor.
thank you, Janet. Okay, so who would like to be nominated for secretary?
I'll do it, but you're gonna have to find somebody different.
And that-
I know. So Heaney, how would you like to take over
You
as
only have one more year,
secretary,
right?
or?
Yeah, a year,
Yeah, you have a year.
Mhm.
Mhm.
but
I know,
Okay.
I know.
Can I start after June? I'm a little preoccupied with
Okay,
my
why don't,
work.
Karen,
Yeah.
would you be willing to serve as secretary? And then in
Absolutely.
June, we will revisit this
Absolutely.
okay, thank you so much. So I nominate Karen to serve as secretary until June, and we'll make a note at the June meeting to check in with you and see if that would be a good time to do it, okay. So
I'll help you as much as I can.
Okay,
Mhm.
and
I know
Janet
that.
seconded
Seconds.
that,
Yep.
and all in favor? Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Sohini,
thank
for
you.
being willing to look at that, so. Okay, that was easy. Policy review, nothing at this time. For C, we have the budget, general ledger, invoice manifest. Did anybody have any questions for Yvette about any of that?
No.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
Jen, for sending an updated one.
Thank you, Jen.
So we'll move on to the director's report.
Close that.
Okay, so we have some clarification on some of the gifts and donations for you to vote on, and some last-minute additional ones that I got in a very exciting Post-it.
Ooh.
5 o'clock
Exciting
text.
5 o'clock text.
That's really exciting.
So, we received a $50 donation to our writers group, from one of the members, Diana E. Lianos. Would you like to vote to accept that?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept the $50 donation from Diana Lianos to the writers group.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you. And thank you for the donation. That's great.
We received a $200 New Hampshire Humanities Grant for Glenn Knobloch's Covered Bridges of New Hampshire virtual program, which was on April 13th. Would you like to vote to accept that?
Sure. I will make a motion that we accept the New Hampshire Humanities Grant for Glenn Knobloch's Covered Bridges of New Hampshire virtual program.
I'll second.
Okay, all in
Okay.
favor?
All right, we also received a donation of a copy of Linda Riley's Up to No Gouda Cozy Mystery. Linda Riley is a resident of Merrimack, and she made the donation, so we would like to add that to our collection.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept Linda Riley's Up to No Gouda, which you did not, for those cozy mystery readers among us, you did not need to tell me that was a cozy mystery because they have the best puns. So, so not to get off topic, but we make a motion that we accept Up to No Gouda.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Great, thank you.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of all the possible cheese puns to come because it's got to be a series, right?
Well, she
yeah.
does the cat mysteries
Uh-huh,
series,
it's a-
and I just started reading Up to No Gouda last night because I got it on Libby,
Mhm.
and it's grilled cheese. It's all cheese.
Love it. Love it.
Our heroine has a little grilled cheese shop in Vermont.
Oh, I'm all in.
I
Okay,
know.
that sounds great.
That's awesome.
It's good. She's a very good writer. It's
Wonderful.
Classic cozy.
Love
Okay. And then a couple of meetings ago, we had received, or maybe it was on email, Michael had wanted to make a donation to the library to purchase a Garden in the Woods
Mhm.
library pass. I gave this to Alyssa Jobin, who's our head of circulation, who manages that collection, and she did some research and would love to add this to our collection. This is actually a pass that our garden club has also recommended. I'm in the garden club, so full disclosure, but this is one of the things they wanted to go to for a field trip, to go to this location. So it's something that's within driving distance, you
Mhm.
know, and something that is interesting to look at, and anyone who enjoys going and touring gardens would really appreciate this.
So is this adding a pass to the collection so that somebody can sign it out?
Yeah, and Michael's not here to actually answer any questions about his donation. We don't have his donation in hand, but it was something he had said he wanted to
Mhm.
do,
Right.
and then I said, well, let me ask the librarian who's in charge of this collection if she wants to add it to the collection, and she does.
Okay,
So
great.
we would just need to follow up with Michael, which I can do.
Okay.
And then probably bring this back next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we received a donation of $100 from the Merrimack Garden Club for the renewal of the Fells Pass.
Great. Well, we would like to, I'll make a motion that we would accept the donation of $100 from the Merrimack Garden Club for the Fells Pass.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Great, thank you to them, that's wonderful.
Okay, that's all the donations.
That
yeah?
is all the donations.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
Well, since Jen wrote most of this report.
I have no idea.
So,
Is there anything that we should highlight or that you have questions about the report?
So I think we definitely want to talk about Hoopla.
Yep.
But I want to acknowledge the cash register. I'm happy to see
Ah,
that come in
yes.
and that
I was
people are
surprised.
embracing that, and that's just, I think, great,
Yes.
fantastic, and I appreciate Alyssa did the work, and I know she went to Manchester and learned all about that, so that's wonderful. I also wanted to highlight that I think it's wonderful that Kathy is working with the school librarians and teachers to organize some school visits. The hiking backpacks going into the children's room, the Library Thinks Junior, I mean, I can just think about so much potential for that, and I know it is not, it is not our job to tell you to promote things or how to do it, but I think that the Jenga, the giant lawn games for anybody having parties is just, that's great, because who really needs a giant Jenga in their life all the time? But if you're just having a party, you can just have it and then it goes back, you don't have to store it or anything. So I just think those are wonderful additions, and
Yeah.
I'm glad to see
Thank
them
you.
there. So
Yeah, you were just saying to me today that all the yard games are out.
Are out.
that's great,
Yeah,
Right now.
great,
it's great.
right? Because I don't need
Yeah.
Can Jam except for one afternoon, right? But you know, people just
Exactly.
need it for an afternoon and then they don't need it anymore.
With
So
all the graduations coming up,
exactly,
it's a good time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great, like, wonderful.
Yeah,
So,
good, thank you.
all right, so hoopla.
Hoopla. So from, this is kind of from Max's report, even though it's under administration. The amount we've prepaid for Hoopla content has expended its budget line. It will get us through the month of April, and based on recent use, almost until the end of May. I estimate, or he estimates, that we will need an additional $1,400 to $1,600 to pay for Hoopla content through the end of June. Please consider how we'd like to fund this, either using extra town funds or trustee funds. You know, we also have, passport funds. Hoopla, we are still at the 6 checkout level, which we had upped from 4 pre-pandemic. So that's
Mhm.
one thing to consider.
Right, so if you lowered it, do you think it would still need the extra funding, or are people borrowing?
I think it would be prudent to have the extra funding, and then we could make the checkout, and return it to the 4.
Mm-hmm,
But I wouldn't wanna not have the funding there just in
Mhm.
case, and then it couldn't be rolled over.
okay. Is there money in materials for that?
I mean, yeah, you do
Not
a
in
lot
the
of the
fiction
buying.
As far as the books, there really isn't a lot. There's a little in the CD line, a little in DVDs that I'm pretty sure we're not gonna use, but Alyssa also wanted to move some over to large print, so I would say there's not a huge amount in materials. Not that much.
What about,
We still have DCU funds. in
there's
that.
DCU funds, there's also the Nashua Educator Association money that
Yeah.
hasn't been spent. And then there's
Mm.
still a lot of trust money, which I'm sure, like, it just hasn't been spent. Let's just say it
Yeah, that
way.
gets spent, really small, like, we were writing a check for like $8
Right.
today,
Right.
so it's
It's a lot of
smaller.
replacements that they use that on.
Yeah.
So there's money available that's dedicated towards materials in the trust funds that we could use.
There is, it's just how they've allocated it.
Mhm.
I mean, we just give the pot of money and it has to be spent
Right,
under certain specific things, but then
Yeah.
they decide how it's spent.
Well, we still have, there's a certain percentage, which I think is 30%, that's just support of the library.
Right.
That isn't allocated to materials.
Right.
So we can pull from that.
Yep.
And that was what fund?
This is the Carol
Okay.
Lawrence
Yeah.
Patterson.
The one we were talking about.
Yes, the one we were talking about.
so is that the best?
It's one.
Okay,
It's
There's
one,
Watson-
but it's
there's
like
Watson
divided
money.
into different, how much
Okay.
is in Watson? 'Cause
Watson
we
had
haven't-
1,000 this past year. I don't know,
Cause I don't think we've spent anything off of Watson.
You have, not a lot,
Okay.
but, actually it was in DVDs. So.
can you make a
No,
recommend?
not DVDs,
Mm.
games.
Can you make a recommendation on the best? Because we
I
need
didn't
to
hear you.
vote, we would need to vote, right, for that?
For what, for hoopla?
Yeah, for the additional funds. I think it's just good if we have it on record of
Yep.
how we want to pay for that.
Sure. Yvette, be careful. Your
Who's
all
sitting on it?
You have a
legs,
cord.
your
it
cords are all
cords-
tied up.
Oh, yeah, I've been dancing.
What about the passport money? Would that be a good?
That's an option too.
Mhm.
Personally, I like to use town money first if there's
Yeah,
wherever we can find it.
I agree.
But I don't. We've moved some money. But
Yeah.
now it's like,
Yeah, with
what's where and,
Mhm.
that's.
I agree. I think that, we always want to use the budget first. But if you're telling us that materials are pretty much already going to be expended, then.
We're getting down to the end of the fiscal year, so people
Mhm.
are really careful in their spending.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like I said, the only thing I can just see, like the classes that we talked about, whether it was DCU, the Nashua, and trust money. But there's money in the passports, obviously,
Okay.
so.
Can I ask Janet?
Yeah.
Because I know in previous meetings with all the building projects coming up, that's where the board has been focusing, moving
Mhm.
money to.
Mhm.
But is there anything, we keep going back to personnel line all the time, and is there anything you think in that? If you want us to look at town money first,
Mhm.
Right.
I don't want to look
I-
at things that you're already allocating for
No.
building
I think that's
projects.
the concern,
Right,
right? Is that
exactly.
normally we'd be like, oh, there's money here, but we
Right.
also are thinking
Right.
that money's going to go to
Right.
some of these bigger items that we're
Right.
trying
Well,
to deal with. So.
Actually, so Heaney brought up that there's that 3,000 that went to postage for mailing books.
We can check, I can check with
Oh, it's an open
Casey.
PO.
It's an open
yeah.
It's
PO.
open PO, yeah.
Okay.
So we could, the $3,143.07 postage for books by mail.
Yeah.
It's an open PO.
Open PO.
We could use that money.
Yeah. Okay, I'll find out. Because I'll double check with Casey, because I know she's using postage for ILL, but
Yeah,
obviously
but if
hasn't
we're
tapped
gonna
in.
take $1,400 from
Hasn't
that,
tapped in
there's
on
still-
that at all.
Yeah.
I think that was something we were planning for COVID.
Yeah, and
To
then-
do a lot more of that, and
Exactly.
I guess we just didn't.
And I think that this
Okay.
is kind of in keeping with that, like, right, we're looking at
Yep.
something that people can use remotely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that might, so I would feel comfortable making a motion to take $1,600 from that, because, knowing that there's still 1,400 in there if she were to, or 1,500, that's a lot of postage, right? So.
In 3
but
months.
Yeah, in 3 months. So, but again, just to clarify, you would have to close that PO?
Yep.
So then we would use 1,600, so where would that 1,400 then go
I-
to?
Well, we can,
And say that you put 1,600 towards this for hoopla, right? Let's just say, and it doesn't get spent, it rolls over automatically, right? For
well, I think it would, I'm looking at the next page of the director's report where Adult Services is asking for 800 for materials, so it might make more sense to say the postage PO goes to materials, and it's gonna be hoopla and these
Mhm.
travel books, and then we just have it if we get
Yeah.
very tight, and it will just,
And
it
it's
could
all-
roll over to materials, and we would.
Yeah.
And it's also making us happy to cross an open PO off, because because
I know.
at one point
Yeah.
there were POs from
I
like
know.
18 and 19, so we're like really on top of it now, and I think that that's like a good use, right? The money's
Yep.
there, use it, and
Yep.
so.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a motion that
That's a good
we,
idea.
that we move, the money in PO 20210-734 to materials.
Would you say that number again?
Sure.
202?
20210-734,
Okay.
$3,143.07
Yep.
will be moved to materials. To be used towards hoopla and the purchase of travel material, or do I need to even say that libraries, travel materials, so?
Well, I think,
materials.
I'm looking
Strategy.
at this PO now, and it's already under business card, so I can find out if we can pay Hoopla with a business card, and then it would automatically come out of this PO, and then the travel books are very easy. We
Yeah,
can-
I don't wanna say, I mean, we know it's gonna go to Hoopla, and then it's just materials, and they can
Yeah.
spend it with,
Yeah.
yeah.
Towards
So,
Hoopla and materials.
I don't know that it
Materials.
has to be closed and
Yeah.
reopened and reallocated,
right.
it's just, we know the intention is gonna be spent it on this and this.
Yeah.
So then I have to change my PO. That-
Your-
or
your
my
motion.
My motion,
Okay.
that PO be used towards
Yep.
Yeah.
materials, so rather than closing it, did I say in the motion to close it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna say, instead of closing it, that we're gonna use the PO, that number, with that amount of money for materials,
Yep.
including a Hoopla. So I think that's clearer.
Yeah.
Is there a second to that motion?
No, I'll second.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Sweeney.
It's okay.
Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, so,
Yep.
all in favor? Great.
Moving money.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that this PO list is gonna be down to one page. But it's good, because we don't want, money just shouldn't be out there, right? It's getting used for
Yeah.
things that we need, so that's great. Okay. Great. Is there anything else from the director's report that we need to deal with?
I would like to
Rhonda.
thank Jennifer for
Yes.
keeping everything
Yes.
running so
Thank
smoothly.
you. Thank you, Jennifer.
That was nice.
It was very nice. I
Yeah.
came back to a nice, orderly.
Well, reentry is challenging enough, right? So to be able to walk in and have things calm and organized, great.
Exactly.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. You're welcome. My
Oh.
pleasure.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Nothing, nothing at all.
Did you want to move some money, or?
Nope, we already
No.
did.
Okay,
Money
okay.
is, no, I don't wanna move any money.
Okay, everything's great.
That was a
No
joke.
more moving, okay.
So, I am looking at the balance sheet, that ended March 31st. For fines, we started with $8,033.76, and we ended the month at $7,080.74. That was for fines. And for special, we started with $37,102.57. And we ended with $39,722.88. On March 29th, that was, money got moved to back and forth
Mhm.
between fines and specials and special and fines. That's the only thing I really wanted to highlight.
That 9184, that you noted deposit error on, so
Yeah,
it's clear.
the 9184 and then 983.26.
983. And that's just paperwork, that's just
Mhm.
like clarifying where things belong, so.
Exactly. So in our QuickBooks, it's accounted for correctly, but now in the account,
Mhm.
the money needs to be there.
Okay,
So,
great,
that's it.
wonderful. Any questions for Janet?
That's it for that.
Okay. Acceptance of minutes. We have a couple of different things. I hope you got my email at the last meeting. We wanted to expand on the minutes from February 15th. So I did watch the video and transcribe minutes, and I put a note of that at the top also, so that people would know that's what happened. So, yep. So I don't know if you had a chance to look over those, if you have any questions about those.
Very thorough.
Well, it's easier when you're watching a video and you can pause it. Karen can't pause us, so.
It's all right.
Yeah, I think that, we, just the previous minutes hadn't really recorded the business of the board, and this way people can read the minutes without having to watch it, and we can refer back to it as well,
Yeah.
so, okay. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from February 15th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Great.
Can I?
You were not here.
I was not here.
Yep, so
Oh.
it's, so 301.
Oh,
Oh, you weren't
she
here
wasn't
either,
either.
Karen.
Karen, you weren't here.
You weren't here either. So.
Oh, right, that's why it
That's why there was
happened.
another, so we'll say 202. Is that,
Can you vote
I was
on?
gonna say,
I know, we might have,
that's,
Mm.
I don't think we can.
Because it's not a quorum when
It's
you
not- exactly.
divide
Not
it
a
down that
quorum.
way.
well, we'll have to vote
We'll
on
just-
them when
yeah.
Mr. Druin is here to join us,
Yeah.
so, okay. So we'll put that over here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, I'd have to look into that because, does it not pass if you, the majority of the people who are at the meeting voted to approve it, so I think that would be, yeah, we'll just do it the right way. We'll cover our bases. Okay, so they're there. We'll put that on our future. March 29th,
Yeah. That's
Non-public.
non-public. Yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the non-public meeting minutes from March 29th.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Great. Sorry, I skipped over the other ones. We have our
Oh.
public meeting minutes from March 15th.
Yeah.
I had one change to those.
Okay.
Under old business, it says, old business, February action items. It says that the library director and trustee chair met with Paul, and it was just me. Yvette did not go. So I can actually just give that to you if you want, just so. I met with Paul McCallie.
You don't want.
No, it's okay. I printed them out today and just made a note on it. So
Great.
I'll make a motion that we can accept the minutes with that
With
change.
the change, yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, great. Thank you. And then we have the April 5th meeting minutes as well,
Yeah, that was non-public.
non-public. Okay.
Come back.
Any changes or anything for the April 5th ones? Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from April 5th.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? Great.
Okey-doke.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
Just hang in there
Yeah,
with me.
yes,
'cause
no,
it's
it's a lot.
slogging along.
Nope. We appreciate you very much. Okay, committee updates. Building Exploratory Committee has not met. Friends of the Merrimack Public Library, I think they have a meeting coming.
They have a meeting, they moved it to May 2nd.
Okay. Merrimack Public Library Development Fund,
They have a meeting and they moved it to.
Oh, May.
That's a new
there was a
one.
lot of
May
back and
21.
forth, so, yeah, okay.
I think that's
It's
a new
upcoming.
move. Yeah.
Town Center Committee, any news from the Town Center Committee?
No, I was absent for the last meeting. My information that I was filled in on was, there was a lot of discussion about the walking bridge over the Sauhegan River.
Mhm.
And that was the main topic of conversation, and some citizens had questioned when that was going to be available.
Okay.
And so I gather that was what the meeting was mostly about.
Okay, great. Library Board of Trustees Committee updates. Our Personnel Committee met, well, the Personnel met because we did Yvette's review. So, and Sohini, thank you for your suggestions and updates to the process. We appreciate that. You had some good additions to the review, so thank you. Finance Committee, we really do need to set a date. We need to do the Quimby thing, so I'll put that on our, hopefully we can meet, because there's nothing big happening in May or June for anybody.
no,
So, yeah, so we'll try to get the Finance Committee together to do. Now, we want to, and we should acknowledge Barry Quimby. I think it said that we're supposed to do it every 3 years, but
Yeah.
we decided we would do it now and then put it on the agenda for the future as well. So that's really our agenda. Our April action items are Yvette is going to talk with Tom about the RFP. There's some money that's going to be moved, so if Karen, if you could get the minutes to Tom Boland, the parts about moving, that would be great.
Yep.
We do need to talk about strategic planning and when we want to start that process, because we were waiting, you were out of town, then I need to be elected, so here we are. So we need to invite Ann Warner in to talk with us. Yeah, I don't know what people have coming up in the next month or two, but maybe I'll send out a little Google form, a little poll, and people can fill in some good dates for them, and we'll try to take it from there, something, so it's not a back and forth, because that can get very cumbersome. Yes?
Could you repeat one more time what in particular Tom Boland?
He'll need the one that we're going to be moving the money from the Atkinson carpet line.
Yep.
We're going to be using that
Yep.
towards the new alarm upgrade
Yep.
and replacement.
Good.
Will he need the Hoopla one is more for our records,
Right.
right? Because you're going to use the business
I think
card
so.
for that. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted, exactly what I wanted to know.
Okay. Although it's in the postage line, so I don't know. If you do need clarification on that, we can do that.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else? Yes. Oh,
So they-
statistics. Yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, the department heads were able to put together
Mhm.
statistics for the quarter of January, February, March. And this is our circulation of both physical items and digital. How many things are moving between our library and other GMOX libraries, programming statistics, how many new customers, total customer cards, computer users, how much we're spending, or how much people are spending on printing and what we're taking in, website, reference questions. If you have any questions about this? I think, just anecdotally, I don't have the statistics from the 2021 January, February, March quarter, but everything is picking up as we expected.
You can see that there's 1,000 item increase.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
over 3 months, so yeah. Great.
Yep.
And I guess it was probably in the director's report, and you've been hearing about this for a little while. The Rogers Memorial Library is officially part of GMILX now. I don't know if I'm not sure where we are for the van, but
Oh.
their collection is integrated into our collection, and what it means is you can use your Merrimack card at Hudson, at Rogers
Mhm.
Memorial, if you're down in Hudson, and very easily request materials from their collection to be brought over to here.
Great.
Good.
Wonderful.
We're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were saying it's been about 10 years since the last time a library joined GMOX, which
Wow.
was Nesmith and Wyndham.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
Yeah.
Wow.
that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. And,
Actually,
go ahead.
will we really notice that they're in the mix? I'm sure they will, but will we notice it?
I
don't know
think
how big their library is.
they're one of our comparators.
Right.
Hudson.
Mhm.
They've always been one of our comparators for town size
Mhm.
Right.
and budget and things. I'm not sure what they have in their collection, because we haven't had the opportunity to borrow from them before this, really, but.
But if you just think about somebody who works in Salem, or is coming back, or even works in Massachusetts and is coming by there because you can come in that
Mhm.
back way.
Mhm.
Great, I'm going to stop and pick something up. I know for me it's convenient. I swing by Amherst. It's, so I
Yeah.
think it just opens up for people as they're going by. If they want something, they can know that they can grab it there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And even the hold list, that's another
Yeah.
True.
couple of books,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for reminding us of that.
Sure.
Anything else? Okay, then I will make a motion that we adjourn at 8:05.
Guys are
Is there a
efficient.
second? Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Great, thank you so much, everyone.
Wow, well, thank you for letting me come.
You know what? I just wanna